Today on Green Country Perspectives, we'll see what's new at the Greater Tulsa Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Then we'll check out new exhibits at the J.M. Davis Museum. That and more up next. Hello, I'm Sam Jones. The Greater Tulsa Hispanic Chamber of Commerce was created to respond to the enormous impact and potential of Tulsa's Hispanic community. The Chamber explores business growth opportunities for its membership, and it is the leading voice for the Hispanic business owner promoting economic development in the Hispanic community. Francisco Trevino is the president and CEO of the Chamber. Old friend, it's good to have you back.
Thank you very much, Sam.
How's life in the fast lane?
It's pretty good. This year we started really busy. So 2014 looks really good for the Hispanic Chamber, and looking forward to 2015 as well.
I get the sense, and I can't give you any documentation on it, but I get the sense Hispanic business is on the move.
It is on the move. Statewide, there's over 8,000 Hispanic-owned businesses, and their impact is tremendous in the state of Oklahoma. Hispanic buying power keeps growing right now at the moment it's $7.2 billion a year. That's how much the consumer spends here in the state of Oklahoma.
Wait a minute. They spend $7.2 billion
just in the state of Oklahoma.
Wow.
So if businesses that are not catering to the Hispanic consumer, they're really missing out into those dollars.
You suppose the legislature is aware of how much Hispanics are spending in this state?
You know, when we were back in 2007 and 8, when we were talking about the numbers of Hispanic buying consumers, a lot of them, whenever we said, you know, the Hispanics spend so many billions here in the state of Oklahoma, even though they heard the state of Oklahoma, they're still asking, is that nationwide? Nationwide is $1 trillion. And so the state of Oklahoma is definitely, we're growing in the Hispanic community. Hispanic business is growing. A lot of Hispanic businesses are creating jobs. So we're here, Oklahoma's our home, and we're not going anywhere, and you know, we're spending money.
Somebody better start paying attention.
You know, I usually say, you know, that the Hispanic community has something in common with Rodney Dangerfield. We don't get any respect. But once they start feeling those dollars, they're going to start catering to the Hispanic consumer.
Oh, they will. They will. What one area could Hispanic businesses use the most support in?
I think construction is a big industry within the Hispanic community. You don't see them because I think a lot of people, whenever they see businesses, they see the storefronts, you know, the supermarkets, the bakeries, the meat markets, but they don't see the construction companies. But there are thousands of companies statewide, and those are the ones that are needing more help. I mean, in the Hispanic Chamber, we're going to try to create the Hispanic Contractors Association in order to help them, because a lot of them don't have the training for work safety. So we're going to try to work with OSU and try to get some programs going to provide some of those training classes for the small construction companies.
I hear a lot of good things about this coming from OSU, so they have some great plans on the drawing board, I know.
Yes.
Are you at a point with the Hispanic Chamber where you're starting to recognize now outstanding achievement on the part of Hispanic businesses?
Yes, because a lot of them I think are crossing that line of trying to better their services. To try to serve the clients better. They're growing. They're not just reaching out to the Hispanic consumers. A lot of them are reaching out to the non-Hispanic, African American, Asian Americans. The supermarkets are trying to provide some of those products in order to get them, you know, into the stores.
I see that when I'm in the grocery store. And at the same time, I've noticed a lot of advertisers on television are advertising toward the Hispanic community.
Which is a very smart thing to do.
You bet it is, with the kind of money we're talking about here. Car agencies are doing it more. Clothing manufacturers are either filtering the word down to the department stores. Something's changing.
It is.
And you can kind of get a sense of, somebody's telling them, hey, you better pay attention here.
Like I said, I think businesses that are not catering to a Hispanic consumer are really missing out on the $7.2 billion a year and how much they're spending. Some of those businesses that are trying to better themselves in order to provide better services and also to provide the consumer, the non-Hispanic consumer, to come in and buy their products. There's a lot of exports from Oklahoma to Mexico, Mexico to Oklahoma. Now that I mentioned that, I can tell you that Mexico spends over $500 million in Oklahoma products.
Really?
So yes, Mexico is the #2 client for the state of Oklahoma.
Do they know that in Oklahoma City?
No, they don't, sadly enough. And that comes from the State Department of Commerce.
Holy Toledo. Somebody needs to do a little educating here, don't we,
yes,
boys?
Politicians need to be, they need to be better communicated with the Hispanic community, because a lot of them think that because you're Hispanic, you might be undocumented. That's the biggest lies. Hispanics, I've been here since 1978. There's a lot of Hispanics that are legal status, they're U.S. citizens, they're voting, and over 60,000 Hispanics nationwide turn 18 in every month. So that's a big voting machine.
Say that again. How many?
So over 60,000 Hispanic turn 18
every month?
Nationwide, every month.
Wow.
And those are the numbers from the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
And we still don't have an immigration policy.
And we still don't have an immigration policy, and which is one of the things that we're working very closely in Washington, D.C., with the Hispanic Chamber, trying to promote a comprehensive immigration reform this year.
You have to keep on the move. And they say it's hard to hit a moving target.
Yeah.
But you have to stay on the move a lot. I mean, you have to work constantly, both with Hispanic business people and the folks who are non-Hispanic.
Correct.
And say, look, this is not a threat, this is an asset. Mm-hmm. How do you marry the two?
Whenever there's good music to dance to, I think, I think the partnership is there. It's just, I think they really need to create better communication towards the Hispanic community. We partnered with the Tulsa Regional Chamber and other chambers around the Green Country. And we try to meet and discuss some of these issues. Sometimes some of the issues that might affect the Hispanic community, the Tulsa Regional Chamber might help us in order to get maybe connected to the right people in order to communicate some of the sentiments of the Hispanic community or some of the needs of the Hispanic community. So it's better communication, I think.
Give me an example. What would be something that they would want to help communicate?
I think the understanding that the Hispanic community is here to stay. Oklahoma is their home. Even though they might be undocumented, their kids, the children, are U.S. citizens. And that understanding alone is a big help in trying to understand different cultures. In the Hispanic Chamber, we try to do events that are cultural motivated, for example, Cinco de Mayo, which is very cultural, but it's a good way of knowing each other, knowing the community, and knowing the other cultures, especially with the Hispanic community as well, because sometimes the Hispanic community needs to know more about the non-Hispanic community, and so we try to reach that gap between them.
You do understand, Francisco, that during Cinco de Mayo, I ate like a pig.
Which is a good thing. I like pork chops too,
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much for taking
you.
time to come in. And please keep us posted on changes and new developments, because without your input, I mean, there are a lot of us in this industry who have no concept of what's going on out there.
No, but I'd be more than happy to return. We are working on some different projects with Tulsa Global Alliance and the sister city of Mexico, San Luis Potosí, Mexico. So yeah, whenever you want me to come back, I'll be more than happy to do so.
You're a good friend, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
One of the treasures in Green Country is the J.M. Davis Arms and Historical Museum in Claremore. Now, it's a fascinating place to visit. Besides firearms, their collection contains 1,200 German beer steins, statues by John Rogers, music boxes of the late 19th century, swords, knives, and Native American artifacts, and much, much more. Several new exhibits have come to the museum, and here to tell us about them is Wayne McCombs, director of the museum. Good to have you back, partner.
Good to see you, Sam.
Been a while since we talked.
Yeah.
How's business over there?
Well, it's doing great. Of course, this is our big busy time during the summer months where we get a lot of travelers from all over the world that come into Claremore and come to our museum. So it's a busy, fun time.
Don't know who's handling your marketing, but I see good things about you every time I'm traveling and I pick up a magazine somewhere, places to visit in Oklahoma, and there you guys are.
Well, thank you. We are a very unique place, and we're happy for any traveler to come by and visit and find out more about the museum.
Well, let's talk about that. I read the other day that among the things you got, new exhibits, you have a piece from Annie Oakley.
Yes.
How did that happen, and what is it?
Well, the National Rifle Association and our museum, we have an agreement where we will swap artifacts back and forth with one another. So we have right now a shotgun that was owned and operated by Annie Oakley, the famous marksman, and it's a unique piece. It's a shotgun, and I can't off the top of my head I can't remember the caliber, but it's very, very small. .410, which is unique because she was shooting targets and things like that, which made it harder with the smaller caliber weapon. So
yeah, it's .410 double barrel, I believe.
Yeah.
I always thought, I was under the impression that she worked, of course she only worked with I won't say that. She worked the majority of the time with glass balls, but she used a .22, I thought. And that's when I first heard about this piece on display, I thought, well, they've got one over .22s. Yeah. But it's a .410 shot.
That's right, very small. It's really a unique item.
Yeah.
And it was made about 1885. We are guessing it's about 1885. So it's a old weapon, but it looks sharp, really looks great. Oh, and then also from the National Rifle Association, we have a pistol that was owned by President Theodore Roosevelt. And supposedly the legend with the gun goes he took it when he went on his trip to Brazil after he left the presidency.
No kidding.
So it is really a neat
Not the same one he carried when he was police commissioner in New York, is it?
No, it wasn't that. He got it after he was president, and he took it on his trip to down the Amazon in Brazil.
Holy Toledo. Well, I also understand you have an assault rifle, a black rain piece that's over there for
right.
Auto?
In fact, it is just up and running here in the month of June. We just completed that. That's the display. The J.M. Davis Museum, of course, has weapons back to the year 1350, but we've sort of been lacking in guns from the 21st century, where this is going to bring us up right to the top. It's from the Black Rain Ordnance Manufacturing Plant in Joplin, Missouri, and they've got a high-end semi-automatic rifle that is really great. They're going to show how it's built in stages. We'll have a little video there, and then we'll have the finished product there. It looks something out of maybe a Star Trek movie or something like that, but it is really, really cool looking.
Have you got one of those new assault weapons that'll fire around a corner?
No.
I'd love to see one of those. I'd love to see
Don't have one of those. Yeah, that would be great. But
the other day I was rereading a piece, and an old friend, Steve Vignatis, who used to write for, I think it was Guns and Ammo as the Greek, had mentioned something to me about this, and that's what first whetted my appetite. But the idea that early rifles, if they didn't have the grooves in the barrel, you couldn't hit anything.
No, that's right.
The mini ball would just go.
You didn't know what, it was just a luck.
Yeah, and the development of firearms, and you guys go through all of that.
Yes, we do, all the way from the first one. The first one basically was a long tube where the gunpowder would go in the end, and they would put a cork in it, and then the front they would put the shrapnel. Didn't have bullets at that time. Shrapnel, glass, rocks. And then in the middle, they would have a hole with a wick, and they would light the wick, and it would fire, much like a Roman candle does today that the kids shoot at.
You just don't want to take it in the rain.
Well, that's right, and I'm sure there were lots of hand injuries when they would let those things go.
Oh, that's true.
But we are trying to change, trying to update everything we can in our. We have a Claremore room where we're finishing up some more Claremore history about our city and our county. And then I'm sorry to say we're going to have this display, although it's needed. our mayor, chief of police, Mickey Perry, that died suddenly in December of 2013, will have a display of some of his artifacts from his life, which is really cool. We have his first revolver that he was given in, I believe, 1967 when he became a police officer here in Claremore, some awards he had through his years of being with the state.
Have you got many air rifles?
We do. We have a lot of air rifles. You know, the air rifles are very old. Air rifles were around at the turn of the 1800s.
That's
in fact, Lewis and Clark had an air rifle with them when they went on their journey to find the West Coast.
I've read several accounts of how the British refused to use high-powered or high-caliber air rifles in combat because, as they would put it, it wasn't considered sporting if you couldn't hear it fire. True story.
Well,
and yet these things were very effective.
Yes, they were. They were used for many aspects. In fact, a lot of the air rifles were used on the farm to get rid of varmints and things like that, and that's where the Daisy Corporation came in. The Daisy Corporation was originally a place that sold windmills for farms.
Made windmills,
Yes. So when the electricity came to the farm and windmills were no longer as popular, they began to give away air rifles. If you bought a windmill, you would get an air rifle. Well, the people wanted the air rifle and not the windmill. So anyway, the Daisy Corporation came out of that.
I got to see one of those first ones, Cashew, that started the whole project, that developed it. You know, it just looked like a little wire frame.
Yes.
Butt that would fit your shoulder.
Kind of like a coat hanger.
Yeah, and you wouldn't think it would do anything at all, and yet it opened an industry that just exploded worldwide.
Well, they're still going great today. In fact, we have at the museum, we have a indoor BB shooting gallery that we operate from time to time for contests and children to shoot, things like that. So it's really still popular and very fun.
I'll be coming over there, Wayne, and taking a few shots.
Come on over. Come on over.
One final question. You still will receive pieces from the public if they want to donate?
Yes, we do. Now, the only stipulation is because we are the world's largest arms museum, a lot of times we already have that, or we have 3 of them just like it back in this storage area. So we're excited about people that want to donate, but at times we cannot accept everything because we have many things.
I understand.
And storage is limited.
Wayne, we're out of time, and I am so happy that you're involved with the museum because I know the kind of man you are. I know the caliber, there's a little play on words, of individual you are, and I think they're doing great things over there, and you're a big part of the reason why.
Well, thank you. I have a great staff in the city of Claremore and all the Chamber of Commerce and the Convention and Visitors Bureau. We work hand in hand for promotions and different things like that, and so it's a great job, great people to work with.
We're out of time. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
It's a well-known fact that music and mathematics are closely connected. But our guest today is a musician who works in another scientific discipline. He's a psychiatrist, and if we're very lucky, very fortunate, perhaps he'll play for us. Welcome to Dr. Charles Hill.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, you practice at St. John Hospital in Tulsa. What's the status of mental health in Oklahoma right now, particularly in Tulsa?
How much time do we have on this show?
Take it and run.
It's the people that are in the community here trying to deliver mental health are doing a great job with what they've got to work with. But we are woefully lacking, I think, in our ability to care for the mentally ill. These are the most vulnerable, weakest people in our society, and we need many more services, we need more people, we need more mental health workers, we need more psychiatric beds. We desperately need increases in all these things to help these people out. We struggle every day, I know all the hospitals do in Tulsa, trying to find places for these folks to go, try to find psychiatric beds or appropriate follow-up. So it's a big problem.
Do state lawmakers pay enough attention to the mentally ill in Oklahoma and their needs?
I don't think so. I think I've heard them talk about it a lot. I'm very respectful of what they have to do in their workday is very chaotic, much like mine is probably.
Mhm.
But I think that the emphasis in terms of dollars and direction of certain programs could be much more involve mental health. I just think that there are other items on the table that lawmakers deal with that are more important. And I know that you always have to categorize things and prioritize things, but what I do every day is mental health, and I just wish we had some more resources directed that way. We could certainly use them.
Is there any one group that seems to exhibit problems more than another?
I think it strikes all levels. Certainly illnesses that concern us the most, such as schizophrenia, autism, these disorders usually start much younger. Autism, of course, in childhood. Schizophrenia can begin in teenage years. It can even begin in childhood years. The earlier it starts, the worse the prognosis is. Some people get schizophrenia in their 40s. They usually do pretty well with treatment. But mental illness can occur any time, brought on by any number of stressors. And of course, with the geriatric population, we're mostly talking about Alzheimer's, other types of dementias, things of that nature.
Which is where your area of expertise is.
That's where my area of concentration has been in the past. I still do general consultation work in the hospital, so we see delirium, we see people who have overdosed, people who are just very confused, psychotic. So every day is very different.
When did you start on guitar?
Probably when I heard my sister play Peter, Paul, and Mary songs when I was in grade school.
No kidding.
And she played that If I Had a Hammer song, and I just thought that was the coolest thing. And so she showed me how to play that on her Sears and Roebuck guitar my dad bought for like $30. And that was the beginning of it. Yeah.
Are you self-taught?
Yes, I don't have any formal training. I had the pleasure to be surrounded by so many good guitarists growing up, friends of mine, and just Tulsa is full of incredible guitarists. And
You ready to do a number for us?
sure, be happy to.
All right, I'm going to let you take your guitar and move over to another part of the studio, and if you would, divert your attention from me to Dr. Charles Hill, and I think you're going to be really surprised. Dogs in Paradise, Dr. Charles Hill, and that's on this CD called The Landing. And so far, it's his only CD. And where is this available?
iTunes, the site called CDBaby, cdbaby.com, and on my website, charliehillguitar.com.
Thank you, Dr.
Thanks.
Hill.
Thanks so much.
That's all the time we have for this segment of Green Country Perspectives. If you have questions, comments, or ideas, send them to perspectives@rsupublictv.org or call us 1-800-823-7210. And don't forget, visit us online at RSU TV. Thanks you for joining us on RSU Public Television.